Good morning. My name is Joy Blang. I am the Executive Director of Philanthropy for Episcopal Retirement Services, and I am so pleased to welcome you to our annual Partners Breakfast. A lot has happened since we were together this same time last year, and we have so much to share with you today and are so looking forward to seeing you all in person. Things are looking up, and just appreciate your joining us again virtually. Just a little bit of quick housekeeping before we get started. This is the main program for today's event, and it will conclude at 9:45. Many of you registered in advance for a 30-minute breakout session for a deeper dive into a particular topic within ERS that's of interest to you specifically. So that will happen at the conclusion of the main program, and we'll redirect you all automatically into your assigned session, and the rest of you will be free to go about your day. So teamwork, selflessness, philanthropy, these are among the top things that pop to my mind when I think of what the many things that helped us get through these really challenging past 16 months. And in a few minutes, our President and CEO, Laura Lamb, will share the state of the ERS with you. But first, because so many of you have been such an important part of this, I'd like to talk to you about the power of philanthropy and what it has helped make possible this past year. So I have to start with the Emergency Response Fund. When the world shut down last March, we were all reeling, we know that. No one knew what to expect. We didn't know how catastrophic COVID-19 would ultimately be. What would the full impact on the world and US economies and our own personal livelihood and resources be? We had a tumultuous and polarizing presidential election. It really provoked a lot of feelings of fear and uncertainty that really generally do not go hand in hand with high levels of charitable giving. So we had no idea how our donors would respond when we reached out to ask for assistance early last April, as unexpected needs were rapidly arising as a result of the pandemic. But our question was very soon answered, and we are really humbled to share that we received over $300,000 in special gifts and grants to support these emergency needs across ERS. And on top of this, we received a tremendous amount of in-kind contributions, particularly food and personal care items that came at a time when our residents and staff needed it the most. So thanks to all of you for that tremendous support that really helped get us through that really difficult time. So you know what they say about best laid plans. The Emergency Response Fund really took center stage in our efforts to support ERS well into last summer. But ERS was continuing to move forward in other ways in the midst of all this. So by fall, thanks to the stabilization that the Emergency Response Fund helped bring, we were able to circle back to some of those other projects that had been put on the back burner from a funding perspective, but were still considered important charitable priorities even after the pandemic. So I'd just like to share a few of those with you. Many of you recall at last year's gala, we highlighted a really exciting project in affordable living, the renovation and construction of the former historic Manse Hotel in Walnut Hills. Listed in the Green Book as one of the only hotels where African-American travelers could safely stay in Cincinnati during the era of segregation. This grand hotel was frequented by many very famous African-Americans and is really an important part of our history for so many reasons. Due to budget challenges with this project, minimal funding was available for the final amenities that we really consider to be hallmarks of ERS affordable living. So on the heels of the Emergency Response Fund, we launched the Next Dance at the Manse capital campaign, which we are now just successfully wrapping up, I'm thrilled to share, which is good timing because the renovation is also just wrapping up. The community looks great thanks to the wonderful work of our partners, the Model Group, and residents are moving in literally as we speak. We have raised over $215,000 to date for this campaign. And as a result, all the common areas of the community will be fully furnished. The fitness center will be upgraded, a computer station's being added, a Wii Fitness area is being added, uplifting artwork, which really makes a a building, a home is hung throughout the building, and we've added a museum quality custom display to share the great history of the manse and the surrounding community to all who enter through the original hotel entrance. And also through this campaign, we've been able to fund the startup program and services cost for the manse through the end of 2022. So we are really excited about that and happy to share the results with you 1 year after we introduced the project. You might also recall last year in the midst of the pandemic, our Meals on Wheels outreach literally exploded. Our client base grew by 40% nearly overnight, and we delivered about 50% more meals in 2020 than in 2019. Urgently, the Meals on Wheels operation needed to move out of their shared workspace at the Dupree House. And while we had been considering a potential move, the sudden dramatic increase in demand expedited this situation. Once again, donors stepped forward, contributing over $80,000 in recent months to cover the cost to relocate the operation and also to customize the new space on Fair Lane in Fairfax, just to maximize the efficiency for our staff and to dramatically improve the volunteer experience. With all of these urgent and exciting projects, it was important that we not lose sight of the need to support the ongoing work of Episcopal Retirement Services. The programs, services, and ministries supported by the Good Samaritan Mission Fund, ERS's annual fund, did not go away. In many ways, they were more important than ever this past year. Rather than me telling you about the impact of your gifts to the Good Samaritan Mission, we have a video now featuring several individuals, residents, and staff who are at the center of all that we do to fulfill our mission.
The services here are great. The people, the management, plus Mr. John, he's our driver. He comes and gets us twice a week. We do a lot of things. We do activities, and we have like exercise classes on Monday, and they listen. Like Ann, the coordinator, now she's very special. If you have anything you have to have, you don't quite understand it, she sit, no matter when you come in there, she said, well, could you give me just 5 minutes? And 5 minutes, and she's helping everybody. But she said we would never go hungry here. She said, if we're hungry, don't hesitate to come over, to her office. A lot of people, they just throw you aside. But here it's just, and I'm not lying. I'm not saying it because of everything. I'm saying it because it's true. Yeah. And everybody will tell you that live here. They stop and they help. And I would like to thank the donors of the ERS, the gifts that they give and help us with, the activities person, the exercise person, everybody here. It really comes in handy because a lot of the stuff, they do a lot. But the donors are really helping us. It's just not helping, the person that they hired. It's helping us. And you just don't know what that feels like. It just makes you feel like you're somebody. You're not just in the building. You don't just feel, you're like a family. And it makes you feel like you're a person. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your generosity in donating to the Good Samaritan Mission. It's been so impactful, especially during this hard year, to see your dollars at work. One of the ways that our residents have continued to be able to engage with activities that they love during this pandemic has been through horticulture therapy. Our wonderful horticulturist, Robert Evans, drops off plants to our door and then Zooms with us while we help the residents engage in planting their flowers. It's such a wonderful activity that's so engaging for them and so meaningful. And one week, we had a resident, unfortunately, that had to quarantine at Marjorie P. Lee due to exposure from coronavirus, and he was able to continue to Zoom with us and get materials in his quarantine, and it really felt like he was a part of the group again, and we were also excited to see him, and his relationship with Robert has been so special, and we were so glad to have that opportunity to be able to continue that activity with him. As a result of your generous donations through the Good Samaritan Mission, we have been able to continue activities such as horticulture therapy, and also really tap into great technology with using the iPads and the smart TVs that have really helped us stay connected.
My name is Tzipi Gottlieb, and I'm the director of Dupree Meals on Wheels. I wanted to take the opportunity and to thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting the Good Samaritan Mission Fund. Thanks to you, we were able to move to this new location. Last year, we served 180,000 meals. We got many phone calls of people that were seeking for help and seeking for our support. Just before Christmas, I got a phone call right as I was ready to leave the office. The end of the day, was ready to leave the office. The phone rang. Over the line on the other side was a case manager that told me that one of our clients just have been released from the hospital and he need food. Her concern was that he's going to be at home during the weekend and he has no one there to check on him and no food. For me, it was an opportunity to go ahead and serve him. Yes, it was a drive of 30 minutes, but that's what we do. We help people, we serve people, we there for them. So I drove and brought him food. His first thing to me was, I'm hungry. I need help. Can you help me? I opened the refrigerator. The refrigerator was empty. There was no food. I brought him the food and I made sure that the next day somebody else, another driver, will bring him more food. But this time it was not just food, but we got him personal items, shaving cream, because while he was in the hospital, he didn't shave. And we got also one of the volunteers that came and took him to the barber shop so he can get a haircut just before the holiday. Thanks to you, thanks to all your support and a donation, we're able to do those wonderful things. May God bless you and your loved one. Thank you so much.
Wow, I don't know about you, but watching that video sure makes me proud to be affiliated with ERS. I hope you share that pride, because you do. You've impacted our residents and our staff's lives, as you can see. I'm Laura Lamb, President and CEO of Episcopal Retirement Services, and I'm so happy to be with you this morning. It's hard to believe that we just a year ago, we were together at one of our first virtual broadcasts. And as Joy said, gosh, after a year of Zoom, we should all be used to this. And we hope that we'll be reunited this time next year. That's our goal for sure. I don't need to tell you that this last year has been extremely challenging. And I want to personally thank you all for reaching out. We've tried to keep you updated on how we're doing, and your kindness and your compassion reaching out to us now and then and asking how we're doing means a lot to us. And I'm going to share with you how we are doing, but I want to recognize that this has been a challenging year for you too, with your businesses and your staffing and your families. And we're just so happy that even though we all are suffering from Zoom fatigue, that you all took the time to be with us this morning and you're interested in how things are going. And we really appreciate and are grateful for that. In the past year, I have reflected more on our mission than I have the 26 years before this last year. The mission statement has really become my guidepost for difficult decisions, for crossroads that we have to decide which way to go. And I just want to remind everyone of our mission. Our mission is beautiful, I think. We serve older adults in an innovative, person-centered, and spiritually based way. And that has been our beacon to get us through this last year. It's helped us make difficult decisions. It's because of that mission statement that the safety of our residents and our staff were our absolute top priority this last year. You can imagine how challenging it was to work and live in a retirement community during a 100-year pandemic. We took the road of making sure that we were basing every decision on science and that we were using the CDC and the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services as our guidelines. And it was difficult. It was really difficult because it restricted every aspect of living and working within our communities. I just really can't emphasize enough about how much our staff have had to pivot and change over the last year. And I will always be grateful for the work that they've done to show up each and every day to serve our residents and to live our mission each and every day. You can imagine with all the restrictions of where you can go and who can come in and where you can work as a staff, really made for some unhappy folks. And that's really not who we are. We enrich the lives. And in many cases, we felt like we were police officers this last year. But you know what? We said at the beginning, and I'm going to say it again, we did have to control things. We did have to have strict guidelines. But the beauty is that 1 year later, we're here together. We're here together. And even though we did have folks that were ill and even folks that passed away, we're so proud of the work that our staff did, because if we hadn't had those guidelines, we know, and we've seen examples of how bad it could be. And we didn't have that here at ERS. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful and realize that it took everyone to be where we're at today. We are so optimistic about the vaccine and what is happening in our communities. We are seeing the impact of herd immunity and the byproduct of vaccination. We're really proud of our vaccination status. We have a little bit more room for improvement, but we're working on it each and every day, because we know that our lives, our residents' lives will change the more our staff and the community are immunized against this terrible virus. Let me give you a couple of examples how it's already changed. Imagine the joy of a Dupree House and Marjorie Lee resident going to the first time to the dining room and being able to dine with people that they love, their friends, their neighbors. Imagine an affordable living where we don't have to wear masks now in some events, and that we can actually offer food at some of our activities. Food is so important in this organization. We often joke about it, and you're going to hear more about how food has really been a theme over this last year and will continue to be a theme this year later in today's program. So I'm just here to tell you that with our rising herd immunity, we are experiencing just pure joy and a sense of appreciation for life with our residents, which is just wonderful. COVID-19 wasn't the only challenge that last year gave us. It wasn't. The other big challenge was the unrest in our community. May 25th marked the death of George Floyd and the surgence of unrest in our community, and frankly, a cry to say we need to do better, world. We need to do better when it comes to how we treat people that look different from us. At ERS, we recognize what we are a diverse group of individuals. We are, and we're very, very proud of that. In 2017, we actually changed our values to say to the world, we are a place that values inclusion. So inclusion was added as one of our core values then. So that really was a foundation for us when 2020 hit, the summer of 2020 hit. And it really made us go back and say, well, what does inclusion mean for ERS? Well, inclusion for ERS means that we value collaboration and diversity of thought, experience, and perspective. We appreciate the fact that we are better when we are together. We are better when we are together. We also recognize that in a culture that values inclusion, there's no room for hatred, for racist views, and for division. It's just not who we are. So we decided that even though we had a strong foundation, there's always room for improvement, and we wanted to do better. So we took it as a time to look at what we're doing internally, whether that be how we have implicit and explicit biases as individuals, and really look at within our walls of our organization, how could we uphold inclusion and collaboration? We started an initiative that we lovingly call our We Can Do Better initiative. And we chose that because it's based on a very famous quote from Maya Angelou, the poet, that says, when we know better, we do better. So what does that say? We have to know better, right? We have to educate ourselves. We have to lean in and listen and learn and grow together. And that's what we've been doing. We've created a safe environment for our staff to share their experiences, to share how they are treated, how they experience the world, because that frankly helps us all grow. It might not be my experience, but when I hear someone else's experience, somebody I know and love because I work with them, it changes my view on things. And that can be very, very positive. We've addressed topics like white privilege, microaggressions, implicit bias, and much, much more. And we have raw and authentic conversations. We cry together and we laugh together. Well, we also have to do something different, right? So ERS announced 4 initiatives that were born out of our We Can Do Better initiative. And these are goals that we've set for 2021, and we are well on our way. The first one was to examine and really fine detail our HR practices. Are there implicit or explicit biases in our HR practices? Of course they are. We're an organization, we're a system. We have to uncover it and change it. What are we doing to make sure that our resident base is diverse, particularly our CCRCs? We're evaluating our marketing efforts to make sure that we are seeking and getting a more diverse pool of residents in our retirement communities. We are creating a staff scholarship fund specifically for underserved staff members that want to grow in aging services. And we'll have more to share with you in the coming weeks on that one. And finally, we are creating a scorecard because, as you know, data-driven lamb loves metrics. And I believe to the core of my being that you can't change anything in life unless you're measuring it. So we have to measure. We have to measure our staff. We have to measure the ratio of white staff versus underserved. We have to measure our boards and our board committees and even our partners, because that's how we're going to grow. This work has been difficult. It's been challenging. It's been uncomfortable for everyone. But you know what? It has to be that way because it's important work and it's worth it. It's worth it. We believe that we can't change the world, but we can certainly change and impact our small corner of it. So that's what we're doing. So COVID, racial inequity, no, that's not all we did last year. So this amazing team actually pushed forward some pretty heavy strategic initiatives. I'd like to tell you about one, and it really highlights in our mission statement, that innovation. Well, how is that? Well, I told you last year, and actually I've talked to you a couple years in a row about our strategy on the middle market. So the middle market, as many of you will recall, is really those folks in America that are stuck in the middle. They have too many resources to qualify for affordable living, but not enough to qualify for our premier retirement communities. They're literally stuck in the middle. And frankly, that demographic represents the majority of elders in our country, which is the sad side. And we don't really have a solution, but our amazing board has allowed us to explore in this area. And we shared last year that we were starting a pilot with our partners at Ridgestone in Perrysburg, Ohio. And we have a community called River's Edge. And boy, it is up and running, and it is doing amazing things, enriching the lives of those residents. I'm so proud of the work that Brian and Megan and others have done. And I'm excited to share with you that we're learning a lot, and we're learning enough to know that we want to continue this strategy. So just last week, our board, our ERS board, approved the purchase of land in Batavia, closer to home. So we're excited about that opportunity to bring this model closer to home. Batavia, if you're not familiar with that area, is just a little bit past Eastgate and the Eastgate 275 Beltway. And we're so excited to be able to do that. Now, having said that, you've read the news and heard and probably experienced personally the rise in construction costs. They're going through the roof. Brian's out there smiling and turning red on me because construction costs are crazy. And we see that each and every day. Great example of that is lumber alone on our River's Edge project increased in the life of the pandemic over $100,000. Where innovation comes in, because through the roof, we have to find a different solution. So we went back to our mission statement when we were struggling and said, okay, what do we do? Well, the mission statement told us to keep moving, be innovative, be courageous, and we've done that. We have an exciting solution that we're evaluating, and it can be helpful not only in the market, but in affordable living and our CCRCs too. So we have a video that we want to share to highlight this important technology.
This morning on Today in Depth, Home Sweet Home Reimagined. Since the pandemic began, as we've witnessed, home prices have risen at the highest rate in 15 years, with so many people reconsidering where they want to live.
That's right. But this morning, there may be a cost-effective solution, and the answer could be a 3D printer. No joke. NBC's Kathy Park shows us how it works.
For decades, home builders have used hammers, nails, and concrete to put houses together. Printers were used for, well, printing. But now those two worlds are colliding. Home building has a whole new look thanks to a 3D printer unlike anything you've seen before.
Just like you pick the house designs you want and you push print.
Companies like Icon are creating homes from the ground up with their massive printer and a special concrete formula.
For folks who may not understand the concept of 3D printing, what does it look like? What does it entail?
So 3D printing is taking a digital file of a house design and layer by layer depositing material to build up the house in 3 dimensions, one layer at a time.
Unlike traditional homes, which can take weeks or even months to frame, here the walls and foundation can be ready in less than 2 days with a 3 to 4 person crew, bringing down production costs to as little as $4,000 per home.
Aside from all the efficiencies of automating construction with regard to time and cost, concretes are an inherently resilient material.
This more cost-effective construction could help make homes nationwide more affordable in the face of a changing climate.
My hometown's been destroyed multiple times by hurricanes and tropical storms. I've spent Christmas in a FEMA trailer. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, because it takes a lot of money, a lot of time. It eviscerates a town over time to try to recover from disaster after disaster.
Icon built the nation's first community of 3D homes in Austin to uplift the chronically homeless. Tim Shea was the first person to move in.
I could never have imagined from where I came from that I would ever have this beautiful a place to live in. I'm so thankful.
And these homes are just starting to hit the mainstream market. In Long Island, SQ4D constructed the first 3D printed home for sale to the public.
We're trying to build houses in half the time for half the price. Our profits will be higher, and we will be able to show that with more projects that we do.
A 1,400 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home built in 2 days using 3D printing technology. Listed for just under $300,000, it's approximately half the cost of a comparable home in the same area, and offers came in by the thousands.
We've been looking since September of last year. It's just impossible to find anything at this price.
And this quality.
How are 3D homes shaking up the housing market right now?
3D printed homes couldn't have come at a better time. We have a housing shortage and a labor shortage, and 3D printed homes really solve both those problems.
Homes of the future, now a reality as companies look to scale up with 3D. For today, Kathy Park, NBC News.
Wow, that just completely blew my mind. And to think also it's helping people who've been displaced.
Yeah, no doubt. I was going to say there's a lot of conversations you can imagine right now. We'd like a third bedroom. Print,
right?
Please. If only it were that easy. Make
Yeah.
life pretty good these days.
Back now, 8:50 with steel.
I tell you, isn't that cool? I love technology and how innovation can help so many different segments. So thanks for playing that, Brian. I appreciate that. Well, we're going on a theme here. So another challenge that we faced this last year is talent acquisition and employee retention. And I know that that's not just a challenge for us. I'm sure we share that with many of our partners that I'm looking at on the screen. We have a very tight labor market. Joan Wetzel reminds us of that each and every time we're together. And for some of you, you might have selected a time to spend with Joan and Alicia to hear more about what we're doing. You know, we are so proud that for 11 years running, last year in 2020, we received the Top Workplace Award. And we're hopeful we will find out soon about 2021. So keep your fingers crossed. And I reflect on that and think about what we're doing to make sure that we are an employer of choice. And as many of you know, I've been with the organization 27 years and I started as an intern. And it's so ironic that we're talking about that today because just last week, we welcomed our newest intern to our organization. So Jenna is a leading age intern that joined us on Friday and is actually going to be with us for about 10 weeks. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about her in the program. So I just told you about our We Can Do Better series. So it should not be a surprise to you that we were one of the first leading age members nationally to raise their hand and say, we would like to be a part of their program. Their program is a summer enrichment program specifically designed to encourage diversity in our industry in leadership roles. And how do you do that? You really provide opportunities for students. And so Jenna is a college student. She's a Pacific Islander, and she's going to be with us for, as I said, 10 weeks. She's actually going to be fully immersed in our culture. And when I say fully immersed, she's going to live at Marjorie P. Lee for 4 weeks and really get to know us inside and out, staff and residents. She's majoring in public health, and she wants to use ERS as a great launch pad to understand how we serve elders in a very broad continuum, whether that be outreach programs, our CCRCs, and then of course, affordable living. So we're so excited to have Jenna join. Let me tell you about another intern that I'm extremely proud of, Miss Megan Bradford over there. She's gonna turn bright red in just a second. Probably doesn't know I'm highlighting her. We kept it top secret. But Megan is a wonderful example of our growth and our development from within. So Megan's story is beautiful. She started as a marketing intern when she was working on her degree at Xavier University. She quickly became someone that we identified as someone that had the sparkle in her eye when it came to caring and serving elders, which is really what it's all about at ERS. She became our nursing home administrator at the Dupree House and the Cottages. She then became our director of strategic initiatives and completed a robust development plan that helped her with her current role. She was promoted since we were last together. She's now our vice president of ministry and middle market. So congratulations, Megan. And it's been fun to watch your journey with us at ERS. Also, since we've been last together, we said goodbye to someone we know and love so much. Kathy Eisen-Len was our vice president of affordable living and in-home services for about 18 years. Last 10 of those years, she spent with the affordable living team, really growing that business line from the ground up. And she retired in January. of this year. We wish her and her husband, Bill, well. They're doing great. I talked to her just last week. And it gave us the opportunity to welcome a new team member. So Jimmy Wilson, Dr. James Wilson is our new Vice President of Affordable Living. And he comes at a perfect time. We've all heard here in Cincinnati all the discussion and sometimes controversy about affordable living in our city in Cincinnati. And having Jimmy on our team with his wealth of experience, not only in affordable living, but in mental health issues, residential living and retirement living. He really has a broad base of experience that he's bringing to our team. Unfortunately, he's not able to be with us today. He had a pre-planned family vacation. He's in Florida with his family this week, but we didn't want to lose the opportunity to introduce him to you since we're all together today. So Brian Reynolds, our VP of Marketing, took the opportunity to sit down with Jimmy, and we have prepared a little video to introduce Jimmy to all of our partners.
So today I'd like to welcome Dr. Jimmy Wilson, our new Vice President of Affordable Living. Hi, Jimmy. How are you today?
Hello, Brian. I'm well. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good.
So I just wanted to make the introduction for all our new partners, and obviously as the new Vice President of Affordable Living, your role is to provide that strategic leadership and management and oversight in terms of development and operations. But Jimmy has served as the Vice President of Housing at Talbert House prior to coming to ERS, another well-known Cincinnati-based nonprofit. He was also a leader as a Director of Housing and Assisted Living at Christian Care Communities in Louisville, Kentucky for 17 years prior to that. And in his early career, he was with HUD as an asset manager. Jimmy's has a PhD from the University of Louisville in urban planning and development, and has a master's from Spalding University in religious studies, and has his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Accounting from Louisville, the University of Louisville as well. So we're so glad to have you, Jimmy. So I just wanted to ask you a few questions during our time here this morning. And given your vast experience, what drew you and kept you involved in the affordable housing industry?
Yes, thank you, Brian, for that question. And what really kept me is the opportunity to serve. I view my work and role in affordable housing as a ministry, caring for the seniors, the elders in our community, providing housing and the needed services. So as we all age, it's my hope and prayer that the work that I and others who we work alongside each other provide housing for our elders that is safe, secure, and really meets their needs as they grow. And so being a part of that kind of ministry, that kind of work is really appealing to me and really fit my skill set and my personal interests. So that's what really kept me in this field for as many years as it has.
Why is affordable housing, and I guess let's maybe talk more particularly for seniors, so important, and how do you feel that ERS meets that need for our communities we serve?
Yes, the need for housing that meets their income levels and provides a place for them to age and grow securely and gracefully. It's a huge need, not only here in Cincinnati, but throughout the country as our country continues to age in some respects. And so how ERS meets that, it's strong commitment to provide this ministry for our elders. I am really so pleased and really thrilled to be a part of an organization that's made such a very strong commitment to providing this type of ministry and services holistically to our residents, the people that we're called to serve, with our community managers, our service coordinators, and a whole host of staff including our maintenance staff, who really make sure our buildings are well maintained. Residents have the needed services they need as they age, and certainly as certain abilities to live independently decline. It's so important to have those wraparound services and connect them to community-based services that helps them to age and grow safely and securely.
Well, so thank you so much for joining us today, even if it's in a recorded fashion, and we'll look forward to getting together with everybody in person, hopefully next year. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that, and wish everybody a good day, and thank you for being a part of ERS.
Oh, Jimmy is excited about being with us next year, and I'm going to hand it over to Joy in just a second to talk a little bit about this year's gala. But before I do, I just want to let you know that our gala actually counts for as much as 1/4 of our annual support for the Good Samaritan mission. And we realize that that quarter of support comes largely from you, our partners and our sponsors. So we really wanted to highlight it with you because we understand your impact. You know, this last year, as I mentioned in my opening comments, has been challenging for all of us, and we recognize that. Some of our partners were experiencing some of the same issues that we were in terms of lost revenue, and they couldn't give as much as they had. But at the same time, other partners were able to, and they did, and they helped meet that gap that we had because they gave more. And I have to tell you, that's just so humbling and rewarding to be a part of an organization where we do have people that can help us with those gaps. You know, 2020 posed tremendous financial challenges for ERS. You know, no surprise if you have to stop your admissions to an organization that relies on what we call heads in beds, it is going to have an impact. And many of you have signed up to hear from Dan Stewart, our CFO, and Stephen Cromwell, our controller, to see how the organization responded to that challenge and is really bridging that financial gap, of course, with your help. Your support is needed now more than ever. And I just want to be that bold and direct and ask you to support us at whatever level you can. And we know, as sitting here with our future ahead of us, that ERS is going to emerge through this pandemic. And we are because of you and our countless partners that care about our ministry. And I think in many ways, ERS is going to be an organization that merges through this pandemic even stronger, because of the work that we've done, the initiatives that I've shared with you today. And so I'm just so happy to call you our partners, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Laura, for that intro for the gala. And I'm excited to share a little bit more about it with you and look forward to speaking with each of you in the near future about this event that is scheduled for later this fall. So the theme we settled on for 2021 is a taste for giving, because as we reflected on this year, we realized that food has played a central role in all of our lives more than ever. And for some, just accessing food for basic nutrition and sustenance was a big challenge. For others, food became a conduit to meeting other needs. Food brings us comfort. It can be a diversion on monotonous days, cooking with our immediate household members, or even with others across Zoom. How many of us had a Zoom Thanksgiving? It was a way to maintain social connections. And food was a way for our staff to check in and engage with the older adults we serve to identify and address needs far beyond hunger. So this year's gala will be broadcasting live on Friday evening, October 8th. And while it's virtual again with social distancing restrictions lessening, and we hope that will continue, we're hoping that our guests will decide to host their own small group watch parties and create your own fun. And we will be awarding prizes to those who send us in pictures. So we hope you'll do that. And you know, while the topics that we address in events like today and the gala are very serious. We want to have some fun too, and we want you to have some fun. So that it remains one of our goals for all of our galas, virtual or in person. So in addition to the live broadcast, we will be airing the world premiere of the Great Gala Cook-Off, our first ever, maybe last ever cooking challenge television show. And we have an all-star ERS cast lined up to bring this challenge to you. That will be aired during the gala. So our contestants, all of whom are amateur cooks, are not only talented in the kitchen, they are also extremely passionate about ERS, have deep insights into the organization and philanthropy, and are really fun-loving and charismatic. They also each have a bit of a competitive side, and they are training in their own ways for the cook-off as we speak. So to get a sneak peek, you might want to check out the spin-off pilot show that Laura Lamb, who is one of our contestants, wrote, directed, produced, and starred in from her very own kitchen, Guac and Talk with Laura Lamb. We'll be sending a link to this 15-minute segment to you following today's events. Not only does Laura provide great instruction on creating the best guacamole this side of Texas, she also peppers it with some very poignant and personal perspectives on the mission of ERS and service delivery throughout COVID. So a different messaging from what you heard from her today. So if you enjoyed today, I really encourage you to watch that at your leisure because it really, really personalizes the work that she does as our CEO and all of ERS. So as Laura shared with you, the event's success is a significant fundraiser relies very significantly on our sponsors, and there will be plenty of levels from you to choose from and opportunities to be involved. And like I said, we will be following up with you in the coming weeks. And thank you for considering how you can participate in a way that's meaningful to you and your business, and honoring our relationship together. Those of you who registered early for today's Partners Breakfast hopefully received your special gift in the mail in time to enjoy for today's event. If not, they're on their way, so you'll be able to enjoy it later. So you may be wondering why your gift included a Betty Crocker mug treat. Well, there's a specific reason for this. And I want to thank our friends at General Mills. They graciously have donated $5,000 worth of shelf-stable products, which will be packaged and delivered to our affordable living residents following the gala. We're going to use this as an opportunity to incentivize our gala guests the night of the event, and who will have an opportunity to make a donation to the Good Samaritan Mission and have a General Mills pantry pack delivered to a resident in their name right after the gala. So we're really excited to provide this to keep food on the shelves for those we serve. And before we close today, I have one more introduction to make. Those of you who knew Diana Collins as our donor relations manager for the past 9 years, she retired in March. And I'm so excited that this coming Monday, we will be bringing on Annalisa Condon to our team. Annalisa will work primarily with our residents, family, staff, and friends associated with our Marjorie P. Lee and Dupree communities, but will be also involved with our partner relations. So some of you will be hearing from her in the coming weeks. So when you speak with her, would you please share your experiences and your perspectives on your partnership with ERS? It would really help her as she is growing in her understanding of all aspects of ERS. So we appreciate your help with that. She comes to ERS with a wonderful background, several really reputable nonprofits in Cincinnati, including the United Way, most recently, and Cranston Computers. She is on the call with us today, so I know you join me in welcoming her. And Annalisa, I'll see you on Monday. So this brings us to a close for the main program. Once again, want to thank all of you for all that you do, for being with us today, but being with us every day in some way or other. We can't say enough how deeply we value each and every one of you, our friendships, our working relationships, and are just so grateful to you. So this brings us to the conclusion of our main program. So those of you who are only registered for that, you are free to leave the meeting. Those of you who are registered for our breakout sessions, I'll just give you a couple tips here before we redirect you into your sessions. So we will automatically send you into your group. If you find yourself in the wrong room, look to there's a toolbar down at the bottom. You can hover over a button at the bottom right and make sure you click leave breakout room, and you will come back to the main area where we'll help redirect you. Be careful you don't choose leave meeting or you're going to get booted out entirely from the whole Zoom call. So we are here to help you with that. The breakout sessions will last up to 30 minutes. We'll provide you a 5-minute warning so hosts can begin to wrap up conversations. And we do ask if you have any questions or comments that are really specific to your own interests or working relationships with ERS or a host, we respectfully request that you save those for another time and follow up after the call today to schedule a private meeting with your ERS contact. So thank you. With that, we will send you into your sessions. Enjoy your time together. It was wonderful to see you and have the opportunity to speak to you today.